Greetings, beautiful people. Welcome to or welcome back to my channel. It is your girl Creatrix here. I hope that this video is finding you in very great spirits. Okay, today I have a very interesting topic for y'all, like I do every time I make a video. So today we're going to discuss the matrix within the matrix. All right, and I know that sounds crazy. It's like, what am I talking about, right? So basically what I'm talking about is this power structure, right? It's not powerful at all, but this power structure, the illusion that resides within the illusion that is natural, right? The natural illusion of this realm. Okay, so there's a man-made illusion that resides within this illusion itself. So what do I mean by that, right? So what comes naturally to this realm? Right? We have the elements, right? Water, fire, air, earth. We have weather, cyclical changes, seasons. We have natural beings, natural plants, natural consciousness, natural ways to speak, to communicate to each other. We have trees, we have animals, and things like that, right? And then within that illusion, which that all the natural things that I just mentioned, they are illusions, right? They are part of this matrix that is designed for us to be able to use as kind of like a gym, right? A gymnasium or a stage to play out our wants and desires, our dramas, our relationships, right? And a gymnasium to strengthen and grow our evolution muscles, our spiritual abilities. This realm is basically what we make of it, right? We can come here and create anything on this realm. So that's what the Most High intended for this place. However, and I'm not saying this is right or wrong, however, it is what it is. Men or people, humans, have come here, right? And they have created another layer of the matrix, right? And this layer of the matrix that is man-made, whoever is in charge of it or whoever created it because they were in competition with the Most High or the creator of this realm, right? And I think it's important to touch on what the Most High is. Now, the Most High is an entity, an extraterrestrial, just as all of these beings are that we consider part of these different pantheons. Like I always tell y'all, they are extraterrestrial beings, and I do communicate with them telepathically. That's how I get a lot of my information, but also I tap into my genetics, my DNA, my information, right, that I've gathered through being here lifetime after lifetime, right? I have access to that. I've gained access to that. I've earned access to that, just like anyone else can earn access to it. The Most High is an entity that created this realm for us to be able to evolve and experience, right? Things that seem very real, hence why the illusion, right? When we are outside of this realm, we don't look like this. We're not carrying this dense avatar. We are not bound by the same laws, and we're not bound by time or any of that stuff, right? And there's a scientific reason as to why all of that exists and how all of that is able to exist, which I touch on in my other videos. So look into that if you would like. But so that is who and what the Most High is, and the purpose for the Most High creating this realm, okay, is for our evolution. However, this secondary matrix or this second layer of the matrix that is man-made is in competition with the Most High one, because it's pride, it's ego, right? The creator of this secondary matrix wants to feel like they are at the same level of the Most High, okay? And this entity is an entity that it just is like trying to be on the Most High's heels all the time, right? Every lifetime, over and over again, it's the same thing. But this entity can never be the Most High. It can never emulate the Most High, right? And the only solution for this being is to be itself. But there's like a copycat type of energy that is constantly chasing after the Most High, constantly trying to compete, constantly trying to outdo the Most High. Okay, this is very secret knowledge, very occult knowledge, but here it is, The reason why we need to understand this and know this is to to help us win this game, right? Because this is a game. It is somewhat of a competition, but really we're competing against old versions of ourselves. Some people will try to compete with you, but that's not the point of this game, right? But people can do what they want, and one of those things that they can do is they can attempt to compete with you. So it is what it is. However, we all are in this game to be able to win it, all right? And the name of the game is who can evolve, okay? Who can go through these levels and evolve, right? And so with that being said, this layer of the matrix is meant to do the opposite, right? What this layer, this secondary fake layer of the matrix does is it hinders growth. It misleads people. It redirects growth and evolution, okay? And through the redirection and misleading of evolution, it is able to usurp our power. And this is where, you know how in the movie The Matrix, the machines are using humans as batteries, right? That the people who are plugged into the matrix in real life, in reality, are actually being used as batteries, and their brains are plugged into a fake matrix, right? Meanwhile, their actual bodies are generating electricity or power for the machines. It's kind of like that, right? So our energy is being funneled into this fake matrix the more that we interface with it, the more that we interact with it. All right, the more that we believe that it's real, okay? I'm not saying, I want to be clear, I'm not saying that you should abandon, society as a whole and go live in a jungle. That's not the solution. Okay, because if we had an enemy, right? As humans on this realm, if we were to have an enemy, it's not other people. It's this secondary illusion, right, that we're existing in. It's this secondary illusion that we would consider an enemy. It's not one person in particular, but it's the entire illusion. And so to forfeit that journey of confronting this illusion and running away into a jungle or going to the middle of nowhere and starting a farm and doing all that stuff, that's not a solution. That's like coming to Earth just to not play the game. It doesn't make sense, right? So we're here to play the game, and what I'm here to tell you is that when we interface with this secondary matrix, right? We need to have perspective shifts. We need to change our perspective, okay? We need to think on a new paradigm, okay? We need to see the secondary matrix for what it is. That's first and foremost, right? And when I say secondary matrix, let me be more clear. I'm talking about the fact that when we are at peace, when we are in our full, whole selves, right? When we are complete and we're not dealing with anxiety and depression and we are thriving instead of surviving, we are the knowledge. We are the information. It all resides within us, right? So that means books would be obsolete. That means schools would be obsolete, okay? Because in actuality, you're supposed to learn from your parents. You're supposed to learn from your elders. You're supposed to learn from the people around you. And not only that, but you're supposed to learn from your spirit guides, okay? So that is the natural way versus books and school and university, which is the secondary matrix. It's the unnatural way. Okay, that's what I mean by the secondary matrix. Prison systems, okay, man-made prison systems, those are part of this secondary matrix. What is the true form of justice is already built into this realm, okay? It's the balance between lessons and the balance between it's the balance between learning your lesson through experiences that are consequences of your action, all right? Like, it's already built into the game. There's no man, woman, or anybody who should come and take you away and punish you and throw you in a prison cell. Like, I don't care what you did. Let me just be clear. I don't care what you did. I don't care if you're a serial. I don't care if you're a rapist. I don't care if you are the cause of genociding people. There is no reason why somebody else should decide whether or not you forfeit the game and throw you in a prison cell, even though the Most High uses this secondary matrix, or not the Most High, but the universe uses this secondary matrix to help us on our journey, to help us evolve on our journey. For example, if you do get thrown into a prison cell because of whatever you did, the universe will use that time to be able to mold you and change you and help you evolve while you're, sitting down, isolated away from society, right? So the universe will always use everything to its advantage to help you evolve and grow. However, there is this secondary matrix that is doing things as if it was the natural system, and it's not. It's not. So honestly, there's not supposed to be a prison, or not that there's not supposed to be, because everything is what it is, but the prison systems are not what the Most High originally created, or what is the original part of the game. You get what I'm saying? And so I say all of this just to say that some of our purposes here on this realm is to combat or dismantle those systems, okay? And I know this might sound like a very daunting task, because these power structures seem like they have a very tough foundation. They seem like they are real, and they've been built, and they've been doing it for so many years that there's no way that these systems can be broken down and changed, right? There's no possible way, right? But I'm here to tell you that the Most High, your spirit guides, the universe, these are very clever, all-knowing, all-powerful energies. And just as there was, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, these power structures didn't exist, it's very easy to go back to that. You get what I'm saying? So just because you were born, or we were born into a timeline in which these power structures exist, like prisons and schools, religion, government and all this stuff, just because they exist and we've always known them to exist since our birth, doesn't mean that there cannot be a world without them, that there cannot be an even better and more beautiful world without these things. Okay, so some of us here we need to get our shit together. All right, it's time for us to move through those levels, work through your trauma, get your healing on, or whatever, because we have very amazing things to do, like dismantling this secondary matrix, right? There are some of us who were born to do this, all right? And I'm talking about destruction. I'm not talking about chaos. I'm talking about destruction, right? I'm talking about organized destruction of this secondary matrix. And it's not going to be things that we've already tried before. It's not going to be marching, and it's not going to be lobbying. It's not going to be using the secondary matrix to infiltrate the secondary matrix. It's not that. It's going to be using the original, natural, preserved essence of the natural earth realm world, harnessing and leveraging that to dismantle the secondary matrix. And the Most High, every time the Most High comes to this realm to reset everything, this is exactly what happens. The Most High comes here, among other things, the Most High comes here to show the world, to show the universe, that the Most High's creation will always be supreme. It doesn't matter what secondary, tertiary, quadritiary, whatever it's called, illusion that men or anyone else tried to create, right? Humans or anyone else tried to create. The natural essence of this realm will always be superior to any man-made thing. I'm talking about paper and books will always come secondary to telepathy and oral conversation and doing the inner work and diving deep within yourself to bring forth, to manifest a solution or an answer to our questions. Like astral projection and astral travel, using the dream world to travel through time and space, will always triumph over getting in a so-called rocket ship or whatever and traveling to space, which is not even above us. It's actually below us in the ocean. But people are going into outer space. People can pay to go to outer space, right? So yeah, and I just want to say that I just want to shout out animals, because animals, they do not get the credit that they deserve. The majority of animals are so beautiful and so special in the way that they interact with this realm. They don't allow their ego to try to create something outside of nature. They are in harmony with nature. They live in peace with nature. All right. In fact, they're so much embedded and part of nature that they have a symbiotic relationship with nature, to where they thrive, nature thrives. They thrive, nature thrives. It's like a back and forth situation. However, us people, we found a way to consume to the point where we've become an enemy of nature. We've become an enemy of the natural world. We've become an enemy of this realm that gives to us freely. This realm never asks for anything back, right? Even when it comes to money, money is part of this secondary matrix structure, right? Because what the Most High has already created, that's embedded in nature, okay, there is a material, or there is like a reward system, right? That's already embedded into nature. It's like, if you can climb that tree and get that fruit, then you can eat that fruit, right? If you can get to nice refreshing water, then you can drink from that nice refreshing water, right? The reward system, or the system of resources, right, is already embedded into the natural world. This secondary matrix creates money to emulate that aspect, right? If you're disciplined enough to get a hot body, or like work out and eat correctly and all of that stuff, then you will receive the body that you want, right? But with this secondary realm, you can now pay for a body and get surgery and look as if you worked hard, right? But unfortunately, there's always going to be the maintenance for that surgery body is always going to be so much more than the natural body, maintaining the natural body. You get what I'm saying? So this secondary realm, and no offense to anybody who's gotten plastic surgery, that's not the point of this video. That's the point of this video, is just to say that this secondary matrix, this secondary illusion, is never going to live up to the natural system that the Most High has already created for this realm, okay? And the Most High comes here every single time to defend its creation. It doesn't need defending, because it's so easy to unravel this secondary matrix. It's extremely easy to unravel it using the very spirituality, the very materials of the natural realm to do so. Okay, and we're gonna watch this happen before our eyes, right? And it's not gonna be as destructive or chaotic that you think it is. It is gonna be a dismantling, but it's not what you think it is. That's what I'm getting. Okay, it's not what we think that dismantling a power structure would look like. All right, it's not gonna involve marching, like I said. It's not gonna involve us putting our bodies in harm's way. It's not gonna involve all like war or anything like that, right? It's not going to involve that. Very much so, for a lot of us, it's going to be an internal battle, and us using our internal world to affect the external world. And we are going to see how powerful the mind really is, okay? Because we project our reality. What we are experiencing is not our eyes. Our eyes just, our vision, our eyeballs, all they do is they receive the light. Okay, they receive the codes. Light touches your eyes and you receive the information, but the brain is actually what actually translates what's going on. So if you can train your brain to translate in a certain way, then it will change what you are seeing or what you're believing, right? And so the mind, or the internal world, is really the foundation of the external reality. And so that's what we're going to see. It's going to be very subtle, very quiet, but at the same time, it's also going to be magnificent and grandiose and huge and big. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, this is the energy, right? So identify what is part of the secondary matrix and what is part of what is natural, okay? And true to this realm. And like I said, there is no merit in running away from this secondary matrix. We're here to interact with this earth realm in any way, shape, or form. There's no judgment. It's no judgment to the secondary matrix, right? I'm not saying, it's wrong and da da da. No. The fact that it's here, it's supposed to be here, right? It's supposed to be here. It's for our best good. I'm just telling y'all that it's not going to be here for long. It's not going to be here for long, right? And that's because of us. We are going to change that. As our internal world changes, our external world is going to change. All right. And there are going to be some there are going to be some shifts that are happening inside of us. Therefore, there are going to be some massive shifts that happen externally as well. Okay. So yeah, that is the energy. I hope that made sense. I know there was a lot of information. Let me know what y'all felt about this message. Let me know if you already see these shifts happening. Let me know if you see already the foundations crumbling, people waking up. All right. Because that's what's happening. For real. I love you all so very much. Consider following me on my other social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. I'm going to put all my links here on the screen somewhere. Consider following me there because I do post differently on every platform. Okay, especially follow my TikTok because every video I make, I'm going to post there first, and then I post kind of differently on the rest of the platforms, right? But yeah, I love you all so very much. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Love you. Creatrix out.